Welcome back in, everybody. A victory Monday here on Birds 365 after the Eagles survive and advance to the divisional round with a win over the Green Bay Packers. Joined now by Mike Gill from 97.3 ESPN. Mike, good to see you on a Monday. We don't normally get the privilege of talking to you on a Monday. How you doing on this victory overreaction Monday, my friend?
I only can imagine the overreactions today. An ugly, not aesthetically pleasing victory. A lot of points left on the field, but moving on to the divisional round.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, how do you feel about that? I mean, double-digit win. As you mentioned, so much left. Even Saquon could have had a long touchdown at the end of the game to make it look a little bit better from a score standpoint.
Yeah.
I never felt the entire game, Mike. I never felt Green Bay was on the verge of pushing the Eagles. And yet, they didn't play well. I think that's a positive, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's funny. As fans, we almost always acknowledge that it's a week-to-week league. Yet if you look bad one week, you hold on to that as if that's what you're going to look like the next week. When we see teams all the time, they'll win 54-0 one week, and then the next week they score 3 points. I mean, if we haven't figured out what you do one week doesn't really carry over to the next week by now, I don't know what to tell you, but they left a lot of points on the board. I thought the big difference in the game was they were just physically tougher than Green Bay. They just beat them up. I mean, their offensive line, it wasn't a great day by Barkley, but if he runs that ball to the end zone, you look at his numbers, you're going to say, wow, he had like 160 yards. But it was a Barkley type of day. He just kind of plot it and plot it and plot it. You were just waiting for that big run, and there it was late. He ends up sliding. But if he gets those yards, you're like, whoa, Barkley had a big day. And, obviously the passing game was just not there. I thought Hurts struggled. I didn't like they had a couple drives later where they just got quick, short stuff, and that was working for them. Early in the game, a lot of holding the ball, and as soon as he gets out of the pocket, that play is over. But he makes a couple plays. I thought Goddard, the catch, and then of course the Bavaro-esque run.
Unbelievable run by Dallas Goddard.
Yeah, I mean, he's just pushing through the guy. Look, they got the job done against a pesky team, but they imposed their will against that team, forcing how many holds in the interior. They changed their left guard 3 times in the game.
That was a big injury for because Jenkins is probably their second best offensive lineman, arguably their best when he's healthy.
Yeah. So, at the end of the day, like you said, if Barkley scores there, it's 29-10. It really could have been 40-10. I mean, if they get the job done. I do disagree a little bit because it felt like they were leaving so many points on the board that Green Bay was not going to play well, and then just, they kept getting these drives, and then Philadelphia, you had a missed field goal, you get an interception, but you figured, how many more times can I ask for an interception or a fumble or a turnover? At one of these times, they're going to convert. I did kind of have that feeling and then Elliott misses the extra point, so then you're like, oh my God, that's going to play a factor. And then it was going to play a factor in whether they were going to try to kick So I thought that was all it had an ominous feel. I do agree in that it didn't feel that Green Bay was it just had an ominous feel because of the missed extra point, the missed opportunities. You got 3 turnovers and didn't capitalize on them. So you felt like you're going to dominate this game and lose. That was kind of the feeling.
And I should mention real quick before Nakobe Dean is carted off. NFL media reporting that it's significant and he will miss the playoffs. Not that we didn't know that, a bunch of us. I had an orthopedic surgeon right away say that's not good when it happened. So unfortunately, great season for Nakobe Dean's going to end early, and that could be a problem moving forward with Horton Burke stepping up, but we'll get to that. I will say about the ominous feeling, that's kind of, I mean, it's personal for everyone. I never got that because, Green Bay couldn't do anything. And a lot of it has to do with that defense, and a lot of it had to do, you just couldn't see them. And then they lose Jenkins, and it might be a holding call, and then they get pushed back all the time. And I bring that up to bring up the Jalen Hurts aspect of it. Look, the passing game did not look good. I think we're all on the same page there. But, these
is that more Hurts or is that more?
I think it's more Hurts, but I will say this. When they needed it, they go on a drive. It's amazing because that's what I was saying before you came on.
Yeah,
Mike.
but the drive, that's why, because when they needed it, they went on a drive, but the drive, I thought the offense was much more conducive to getting to a rhythm. It was a lot quick, short stuff. Here, A.J. Brown, bang. Devontae Smith, boom. Goddard, hit. Like, get it out. Let them guys do stuff. The first half, it just felt like constant. They get plenty of protection. He's just looking, and you're like, what?
Well, the first touchdown. I mean, everybody looks at the first touchdown and says, wow, that's awesome. 6.75 seconds of pass protection. Longest on a touchdown pass this season, according to Next Gen Stats. All right, you're not supposed to do that as a quarterback. That's when I always talk about people judge results. That's actually a bad job by the quarterback. You got to do something before 6.75 seconds. That's not sustainable. But it all ended well in the end, so everybody's like, that's great. Not really great. So, I mean, if you're Kellen Moore, what are you going to do? You scheme something up. The ball's supposed to be out. Doesn't come out. What are you going to do, Mike?
Yeah.
You're 15-3. You're not fixing it.
You're 15-3. And I think yesterday shows they're just a flat out more talented team. They're more physical. I think the physicality up front won the game. The battle of attrition that Green Bay's line just lost. They were losing guys left and right. They just could not. While there wasn't sacks it wasn't like an 8-sack day where it was just embarrassing. Love is good enough that he just gets the ball out so quick, but he had to get the ball out even quicker because of the push from up the middle was just constantly in his face all day long. So he's just rushing to get everything out. So everything that's complete is short. The Dean injury is significant because I thought yesterday the calling card for this defense all season long has been that they tackle. A lot of missed tackles yesterday that kind of kept. If the Eagles tackle like they normally do, Green Bay's not even in the game. At all. But they had a lot of missed tackles in the game yesterday, uncharacteristic. So the Dean injury should be interesting moving forward because I definitely think that was something that did kind of play out in the game. Was that Burks was in a lot of missed tackle opportunity. The one where he's just dragging the guy JAKIB's T-shirt. So we'll see how that kind of affects them moving forward. But overall, I think the physicality of Philadelphia and then the overall depth of talent on their team just wins a game where they just didn't play that well.
No doubt about it, Mike. What does that say about the team? You don't play anywhere close to your best game. In fact, I thought at times that offensive performance, man, was ugly. But you win by double digits, Mike. This team has this weird ability to just beat teams. And not even give them a chance. You win that game by double digits. That's the Packers' biggest loss of the year. And it happened when the Eagles, like you mentioned, missed a bunch of tackles. Offense didn't really get anything going. 130 passing yards in the game. It's impressive how the team wins. You think this is a formula that they can use to take it all the way without Jalen Hurts ever having to play elite level football at the quarterback position?
Yeah, and you have to assume that Hurts, is getting back. They weren't asking him to, be nearly as involved in the offense maybe as he should be or is normally, and you still kind of win that game. Early in the game, they get the big run from Barkley right off the bat, and you're thinking, all right, because, he kind of rips that run, and you're thinking, all right, well, this is a good sign. And then they kind of got away from it. He had like 9 carries. He had the 6 completions in a row. Then he couldn't complete a pass. It was just a weird, moment in the feeling in that game. And then you get the interception from Slay. You get a later interception from Bond. And I'm thinking, how much more can you ask of this team? And yet you still are winning this game when you clearly aren't playing your best football. So I definitely think it shows. But, and obviously tonight, you get the winner of the game tonight. They're playing on the short week. Obviously the situation in L.A., both teams are on the road in this game. It sets up for a pretty solid situation for them moving forward here where you're playing against a team that you played earlier this year in L.A. and really dominated that game.
That might be the least. They are. I talked about. I talked about that game going in because people were thrilled with Jared Verse and Braden Fisk, and they're very good young players, but they're so undersized. And I'm like,
Yeah.
boy, the Eagles are going to push those guys around, and boy, did they.
They pushed them around, and that was the game. Nakua, I think, had been out for a couple of weeks, and he came back. Cup came, they both those receivers were kind of in and out. I think Nakua had a big total, but they kept those guys in check for the most point. And they just, as you mentioned, they just dominated. I think, memory serves, I think Barkley had like 250 yards against them.
255.
Yeah, I mean, they just pushed them all over the place. So, I think you're looking forward and say, man, we didn't play this offense doesn't play their best game this week. Next week, you would hope it's not a game where you have to ask Jalen Hurts to do all that much because of the defense. Well, that's assuming the Rams win. Now, the Vikings pose a different problem. Their defense is probably a little bit more equipped.
I still don't see it with them. You got Sam Darnold in the pocket. This defense is going to torture that guy.
I don't. If somebody, who do you want to play? I said I really don't have a strong feeling on either. I just think they're both inferior.
I almost want to play the Vikings because I think Stafford's more capable.
The Vikings on the road with Darnold, I mean, we've seen this act before. They've come on the road and just have struggled. And Darnold has shown, but I think either team is in a tough spot having to travel. You hate to throw the LA situation into it.
I am 99% Eagles over Rams. I only leave up 1%. Vikings, look, they're going to win. They're going to beat the Vikings. But I leave open the door if Sam's hot on a particular day. They play defense a different way. They have big run stuffers. Eagles are still going to have the advantage, but they have Harrison Phillips and Jonathan Bullard and guys who are really strong and physical up front. Just the Rams are the easiest matchup in this entire playoff for the Eagles.
Agree.
Because of their defense.
Their front defense is so undersized. Yeah. And the Eagles' offensive line, you already saw it. They will destroy them.
And I would say, we're going back to Jalen, and I think obviously people are being critical, which is fair. I think he did not play very well yesterday, But keep in mind, the run they went to the Super Bowl, he was not a big factor in that run. His best game was the Super Bowl. He did not do much against San Francisco. He did not do much against Minnesota. I mean, was it Minnesota that year? Who did they play in that first?
No,
was it Minnesota?
It was San Francisco in the
They played San Francisco in the NFC Championship game. Who was the team they played in was it the Giants?
The Giants,
Yeah. So, he did not have a great playoff run, and he ended up having his best game. So, as the Eagles have shown, he doesn't have to be at his best for them to win. That is the charm of this team is Green Bay needs Jordan Love to be almost immaculate to win. Philadelphia doesn't. So, yes, it's easy the next day to come on and say Hurts is concerning. He didn't play well, but you still won the game. The Eagles have shown throughout this season and past seasons that Hurts doesn't have to be 28 for 35 with 350 yards for them to win. They can win with his numbers, and they've done it this year. He threw 14 passes. They win.
We barely need him to throw 150. I mean, come on, man. And we're not asking him to do basically anything.
At one point, they had 26 yards passing, I think, at halftime or something like that. I mean, you're thinking, my God, this has been putrid. But, hey, here they are getting ready to
all right,
to host again.
You're a baseball guy, Mike, so I want to give you my baseball analogy. When a starting pitcher doesn't have his A stuff, you kind of know it, and they have a poor performance, and that's it. And that's how I look at most quarterbacks. Jordan Love yesterday didn't have his A stuff, bad game. Jalen Hurts doesn't have his A stuff. He's still got this ability to grind and make big plays in certain situations. I think it's rare. I always look at Roger Clemens was that way. Didn't have his A stuff, but he's gonna grind and fight and get you through 6 innings. They don't do that anymore. So this is old school baseball. But you get my point.
Yeah.
He grinds even when he doesn't have his best stuff. Most quarterbacks, they don't have it. They don't have it. Period.
Yeah, and listen, he got help because he's got great players around him. I mean, the throw he makes to Goddard, Goddard makes a great play on it. He kind of is out there, he stretches out and goes and gets it. That was a first down late in the game.
One-handed catch.
One-hand catch. The play that he throws, that it's out there for Goddard. Goddard, the individual effort he makes after the catch ends up being a factor. That's what gets you with this team. That's the frustrating thing for me with the offense sometimes is Jalen Hurts is not the star of this team, nor does he need to be. You have so many weapons. Just get them the ball as quick as possible and let them make people miss. Nobody can tackle in this league. You throw the ball out, somebody misses a tackle, and there's your big play. And I feel like the Eagles there's a whole part of that offense that could be unlocked by just saying 1, 2, 3, bang, there you go. There's the ball for A.J. Brown. Slip a tackle, and now you got a 9-yard play. Instead of a 3-yard where you catch the ball 4 yards down the field, you break a tackle, you get 9 yards. I don't understand with the talent they have how that's not elementary.
Howie Roseman's the MVP of this team. I don't think anybody's gonna tell me otherwise. You have where in the modern NFL have you had a team where your quarterback he's basically not asked to be anywhere close to exceptional? It's okay. I'm good with it. We keep winning. But I'm just pointing out the offense is so damn good. You're so versatile on offense because Howie Roseman just built a juggernaut, and you really don't need the quarterback to do much.
Well, and the question is, though, is that what the design was? You signed this guy to that contract. I don't think the design was, hey, let's not have our quarterback.
Go back to the spring and summer and all the Kellen Moore hype. No, this was not the design. But so you brought up Kellen earlier. Is it his fault? Because I don't think it's his fault. You said just get the ball out. He won't get the ball out. What are you going to do?
Well, I guess that's where the whole argument about coaching comes in. Are you coaching him to get the ball out? Is he not taking to your coach? I mean, all that stuff. That's just the whole mental aspect of all sports where we like to blame the coach. And some people say, well, that's on the coach to coach him to get the ball out as quick as possible. And if he's not doing it, then what? Who's that on? That's on the quarterback. Okay, well, what are you going to do if he's not?
That's a fair point because – and I've been saying this, and I'm going to bring it up because I say too much, I think, people regarding Vic Fangio. It's not the scheme, it's the way he teaches it. The Honest NFL, who I always give a plug to, does a tremendous job. Follow him on X if you can. He said, the greatest thing about Vic Fangio's defenses has never been the scheme. He's a prime example of why hiring for that scheme is stupid. No matter what call is made, you can only play it as well as it's been taught. And he's 100% right. The teaching aspect is far more important than the scheme aspect. Sean Desai ran the same damn scheme. Didn't look the same because it's not taught properly. So, to your point, that works on the offensive side as well. So is it Kellen's more responsibility that Jalen Hurts will not release the ball on time in this particular offense? Are we going to blame him for that?
Yeah, exactly. So that's where it's a weird dynamic because I thought yesterday in the drives that they did get the ball out. They ended up with points. I mean, almost every single time where they just kind of quickly got the ball out, it allows you just to get just some sort of rhythm. You can still take your shots down the field, but just get the quarterback kind of in the rhythm, bang, 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 keep the defense on the heels, and then take your shot. It's like they work in reverse. They want to take the shots early and then kind of say, all right, well, that didn't work. Let's scale it back and try, So I feel like it's an unanswerable question. Is this on more that he can't get it out of Jalen, or are they just not asking Jalen to do that? I mean, who knows? But the moral of the story is they're winning, and it's because they're the more talented team. But that shrinks every week now as you get the talent disparity starts to shrink every single week. Although the divisional round, I think they're going to be the definitively more talented team.
Yeah, look, Minnesota's talented. I don't like them in that spot.
Guys, I can't get Pumpkin Darnold out of my head with Minnesota. I'm sorry, I just can't. What's the best quarterback performance we've allowed this season? Baker Mayfield in week 4? Was that it?
No, I don't get me wrong, I think, but to Mike's point, they're better than Green Bay. I don't know if the Rams are, but especially as the matchup. And by the way, you might not even see the Vikings. The Rams might beat them. But I'm just saying.
Yeah, this is a weird situation with
Mike's
the Fires.
Point, yeah.
This is a weird situation with the Fires and them having to travel. Are they rallied behind that? You don't know what the crowd's going to be like tonight.
Right,
I mean, they did sell a lot of tickets, but is it a pro-Rams crowd? Is it just an NFL crowd? A lot of Vikings fans, that's a shorter trip for them. Not by much, but still easier to get to. So it's going to be a weird dynamic, and it's sad what's happening out there, and it's come to this.
But to your original point of the talent different, it does move a little bit. Eagles are a significant favorite against either team.
I think it's 6.5.
And then if you project to the NFC Championship, unless Washington pulls off the miracle of the century, and I go back to Nakobe Dean, oh boy, Oren Burks trying to deal with option routes with Jahmyr Gibbs. Woo!
Oh, in the game down the line, yeah. Burks played the game against the Giants. I think he had, 17 tackles. He was all over the place in that game. Yesterday, he seemed to be on ice skates all day. Just couldn't figure out what he was doing, where he was going. It seemed him and Ball on the one play, they're colliding. So, yeah, I think Dean, it's a significant loss at this stage. But, hey, everybody's losing guys. I mean, yesterday Green Bay's losing guys. They were down to their third, fourth. They were down to their fourth, fifth, and sixth wide receiver.
Bo Melton.
That was a body bag game, man. At one point, it just felt like players were dropping every single play.
Yeah. And then late in the game, the defense, Walker? He's trying to hang in there. He couldn't keep up, and Detroit's been dealing with injuries all season long. And by the way, if you do face Detroit, they're going to get Montgomery will be back. So they're starting to get healthy at the right time. Detroit's getting a couple of bodies back. But look, this is going to come down to execution. If you don't execute against, Detroit, Washington winning that game last night, I felt was like, Tampa Bay is a team that I just was not interested in having to match up with if I'm the Eagles.
I think that's I think that has to do with the past. I don't think.
Well, they just Baker is one of them guys that's just a perky guy. I mean, he just when they play well, it just
he's tough to deal with at times, but everybody's got good players.
No, I woke up. I'm leaving tomorrow. My flight's tomorrow morning. By the way,
Any anxiety for going to Thailand?
No. I got to give a shout out to some of the viewers, though. I had two viewers in Thailand reach out to me. William Johnson, who is a Navy vet and a LaSalle grad, who goes to Thailand for 3 months a year. And he assured me that I will be able to watch the game. And then I had another gentleman, John Nash, not the former 76ers GM.
I could use John Nash back.
John Nash reached out to me, and he is over there as well, and assured me I will be able to watch it. Now, I was disappointed to see the time of the game.
What time in the morning?
They play Sunday at 3 o'clock in the morning against the Rams Vikings, and then the NFC Championship game is also at 3 o'clock in the morning. So,
all right, Mike. Now, be honest with me. Be 100% honest. How dedicated are you? Will you be watching in real time, or will you set the DVR and watch?
I don't know that I can do a DVR. I will say. So yesterday, my buddy came over with the Amazon Fire Stick. It's loaded up with the ability for me to watch the game. Although the two viewers assured me that True Sports 1 will have the game on in Thailand, in my hotel room, or a bar. I don't know if I can go to the bar at 3 o'clock in the morning. But, yes, my plan is to be up for the games. There are 2 days that our itinerary actually works out, that we don't really have something planned on those days.
And Thailand, True Sports 1, we're giving you a free plug. There you go.
They have True Sports 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Apparently,
I want to give a shout out to the viewers.
Sports
1. How about two of JAKIB Nation being out there over in Thailand helping Mike Gill?
I was thrilled. I mean, I got home from work the one night, and I got an email, and it was, hey, William Johnson. Shout out to you, William Johnson. He said, I watch Birds 365 when I wake up in Thailand. And, he's a religious watcher. It wasn't like he called it once. He watches all the time. So, William, thank you. And, John, thank you. I do feel like I will be equipped now to watch these games. And I think, the one thing that we should all be pretty thrilled about is the way the defense played in the game.
Oh, yeah.
We kept wondering, Nolan Smith coming up with 2 sacks. We kept wondering whether or not they can get a pass rush. We keep wondering whether or not they have enough. Jalen Carter, you didn't hear his name much yesterday, but you got to imagine he was a big factor in the holds. They were probably double and triple teaming him, which left one-on-one on that left guard spot. And that guy, whoever it was, they had 3 different guys, had a rough day at the office.
Yeah. Yeah, when they
how many times do you see a team just literally yank a guy out of the game? It's like, you're so bad, we have to replace you with the 3rd guy.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I mean, Jenkins, he went down, and and that again speaks to the Eagles and Howie Roseman, Zander's point. The Eagles have had to play Fred Johnson and at times, and Jack Driscoll at times, and Tyler Steen at times. They don't have that drop off. Obviously it's pretty significant drop off from where the Eagles typically are, but I mean, those guys were embarrassing. And even the depth of the Eagles shows up, especially on that offensive line. I don't want to hear MVP talk, Saquon, Howie, even Zach Bond, who I love. MVP of that team is the offensive line. Period. End of sentence.
Hey, I said on my show, the star of the team is the offensive line. It's not Barkley. It's not Brown, because that line allows Barkley to be a 2,000-yard rusher. In New York, he's still Saquon Barkley, but he's not 2,000 yards Saquon Barkley. That offensive line allows everybody to be another level from as good as they already are. They take them to another level. And I said, this is when they were 4-4. I said, until the Eagles come to terms with their offensive line is the star. It's not A.J. Brown. It's not Smith. It's not Hurts. It's not Barkley. That line is the star of this team.
Yep. I'm with you 100%.
All right, Mike, are they going to the Super Bowl?
I hope, man. I will be in New Orleans. I come home on the 30th, and then I'm heading to New Orleans on the 4th. And I hope that I will be able to see this team. It's been an unbelievable journey after last year's end, in which they lost 6 out of 7. For them to be in this spot, what a turnaround. And they get a lot of credit for not letting last year infiltrate to this season. That game on the 26th, if it's Philadelphia-Detroit, I think will be an epic final. Right now, I still lean Detroit. I think Detroit just losing last year and then going 15-2. It's not like they lost last year and let that kind of derail them. No, they've built on that and just gotten better. So I do think Detroit right now has that feel of they're just not letting anything get in their way. They've had injuries. They haven't let that get in their way. So I do think Detroit, if I'm being, honest, I think Detroit's the slightly just has, a little bit more vibes.
And by the way, if you do make it to the Super Bowl, it's going to be a good team. Whether it's Baltimore, Buffalo, Kansas City, it's going to be a good team as well in the Super Bowl. Baltimore, if they play like they did against Pittsburgh, they're going to be a tough out.
Yeah.
But we know Lamar Jackson's history. I can't say it enough, Mike. At Mike Gill Show, make sure you follow Mike on X.
I am on the air today. Today's my last day on the air.
Nice.
97.3, the Sports Bass. Hope you're local in South Jersey, and some of you aren't, thanks to you in Thailand. All over that watch this show, but if you are local 2 to 6, you can listen to Mike daily, not over the next couple weeks while he's in Thailand, but listen to Josh Hennick and everybody filling in. This team and the way they've done it is so unique, and I go back to the quarterback because I always use that term, unique. But boy, I'm worried about this Nakobe Dean injury. Especially,
I guess that's the question. If you were to lose one guy, I mean, I don't think Dean would be your answer. But it sounds like, like I think Zach Bond, or they lost Slay for a little bit yesterday. They have some guys in the secondary that can kind of step in. I know when Chauncey Gardner-Johnson goes out, there's a drop off there. But losing Dean with some of the opponents they have coming up with what they like to do could be
Aaron Jones and Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah,
Aaron Jones and Jahmyr Gibbs coming up. Potentially, Rams don't have as much with Kyron Williams. Very good back, but not really pass catcher. But if you get Gibbs can do everything. That dude is unbelievable. And him running option routes, oof. I mean, Derek Brooks
Detroit loves to go
guy.
over the middle. Detroit loves the middle of the field.
Yeah. Derek Brooks
I
can
feel
cover
like the
that
NFC
guy.
title game, if it's Detroit, assuming it's going to be Detroit at this point, I feel like that's a way harder matchup for the Eagles than the Super Bowl matchup would be. Like, I feel better about who you play in the AFC coming out than Detroit. That to me is the toughest matchup of the playoff run.
Yeah. No doubt.
Yeah, I agree. Best
agree.
team in football,
Detroit,
so I would agree with that.
All right, Mike, thanks for checking in, brother. Got in one more segment with us before your trip over to Thailand. Now, Mike, the people in the chat are continuing to remind you to be careful of the lady boys.
I have my lady with me, so I'm not. I'll be.
Do you
fine.
have a detector of some sort, a lady boy detector of some sort? That
yeah,
you can,
my girlfriend. My girlfriend.
There you go. That's probably a good detector. Mike, thanks for joining today, brother. We appreciate it. As always, great stuff, and we'll talk to you again somewhere down the line, man. Be safe over there.
All right, guys. Thanks.
Enjoy the trip. Don't worry about the trolls. Enjoy the trip. Good
stuff, Mike. Enjoy the trip is right. And we appreciate him for joining in today. Middle of a playoff run, John. I wouldn't be happy to leave my studio. I don't like leaving my studio ever. And I wouldn't be able to leave, man, on the way.
Well, man, when you got, and Mike is essentially married. When you got the better half, sometimes you got to make them happy.
I don't know, man. I couldn't do it.
The way it is.
I tell all my people and my family, my girlfriend, everybody, it's a football season. Okay, you want to get me in the off months. I'll do something then. Maybe you can get me on a weekend.
No off months, as my wife can tell. What the hell are you doing in the off season?
Correct, John.
There's no off months. And people don't, like, my wife hates football because all I do is football. So she has grown to hate it. She's like, what do you? It's over. What are you doing? And I'm like, you have no idea.
It's over. It's not.
There's more to do in the off season than there is in the. Nobody understands that. It's, the regular season and the playoffs are almost a respite from the draft stuff and the free agency stuff and the agents and oh my Lord, I cringe thinking about it.
I know. All right, let's get to a couple super chats here, John. We have Jeff Kerr coming up at 9:20. Looking forward to talking to Jeff. We always get Jeff on a Monday. We pushed him back. Jeff accommodated us because Mike wanted to get an extra segment in before Bangkok, so we appreciate that. Let's get to a couple super chats. I see one coming in.
Chris Franklin as well. He'll be on tomorrow.
He'll be on tomorrow, right? We pushed him back. So everybody accommodated us. Good stuff, man. Good stuff.